So many days I thought of you. It's about time you look. Got to act quickly, you and I. Falling love so many reasons why. Why don't we? Why don't we? Why don't we? Why don't we fall in love? It's so many reasons. It's the only thing that matters to me.
Hello, hello, hello.
You're the only one I never want to go. Things I never did know what to do. Love I never found, now I feel for you. Why? I just swallow each and every ounce of my pride. Everything you do, I wanna feel again.
Hello, making sure that we are good. All right, turn the music off. Hi. Hello, hello. Hey, Joanna. I'm just giving a few minutes for everybody to come in. I miss you. How are you, darling? Awesome, awesome. I hope you are well. Better than well, in fact. I am just making sure that everybody is getting this. There we go. How are the girls? Almost done school over there too? I'm so excited to talk to you guys tonight. I know, me too, Joanna. I'm so happy. We still have to catch up on other things, on business things, on smart dream things. I'm really looking forward to it too. It's a lot of exciting things happening. Joanna, can you hear me okay? Because I want to make sure as I'm syncing and sharing this message out that I can be heard. Am I coming through okay? For you at least? I'm checking. It's hard to tell. Okay. Yes, they are big. Yes, they are. I know they are. I know your girls have gotten so big. Yes, you hear me, but okay, perfect. Good, good, good. I wanted to make sure. I got a couple of messages of some people running late, but it's live, so we're going to get started soon. I was trying to play some music in the background, and then Facebook shut that down and said, you can't play any music in the background. So I'm kind of jamming to myself right now, which is hilarious. Super hilarious. And there's a thunderstorm outside as well. How about that? I'm so excited you're here. All right, let's see if we can get some of these folk in. They got 30 seconds. Someone's texting me like, don't start without me. I'm trying not to, but I am really, really trying not to. But Joanna, I know you have things to do too. It's after 7 p.m. here. I'm just closing all these other screens. It's been raining here all day. It's been raining there all day. It just started for us maybe, and like literally like 20 minutes ago. So which is why I'm sweating because it's hot in here. But if I open the windows, it's going to be even harder for you guys to hear me. So it's all good. It's all good. I'm almost ready. We're just about to do it. I'm literally texting people back like I'm starting. Joanna's here. We're ready to go. All right. So since I can't play my music, which sucks because I was over here like Jackman to A. Marie and couldn't do anything else. We're just going to get started so we can go. So for those of you who are joining later and for the amazing of you who are here right now, I want to reintroduce myself. My name is Naketa Thigpen. I'm CEO of Thigpro Balance and Relationship Management Institute, which I'm sure you know by this point because you probably found this by coming to our Thigpro Balance and Relationship Management Institute Facebook page, which I have been neglecting. Sorry, Facebook page. I've been spending so much time on LinkedIn and in LinkedIn groups and a good bit on Instagram that I have been neglecting you. So this is my homage, if that's a word. I think I just made it up to make sure that I stay in connection and really use Facebook to its fullest. And of course, we will save the recording and upload this for you to YouTube for later, for those of you who want to get access from it there. So what I'm doing with Let's Talk Intimacy is really simple. My background is I'm a licensed clinical social worker, all things relationship management, behavioral management, emotional science, consultation, human relationship, all of that good stuff is all put together. And what I found over my last 8 years in business is really something simple, that although people may come through I need help with my business store, my pricing, my packaging, clarity, strategizing, getting ideas. Maybe I need some additional help with, extracting some of the creativity that I have as an analytical creative in my leadership position so I can lead these teams better, or they may even come through I just need to increase some confidence, before I do these speaking engagements or go to my next level of what I call careerpreneurship, which is walking from your professional hat into the entrepreneurial part of yourself. Whether you stay in a corporate role or not, you're really tapping into that as an analytical creative who's bold and ambitious and brave. Regardless of which window they come through or which door they come through, for me, it always ends up being connected to the relationships that they have or they don't have. First with themselves, those scripts that we have, the stories that we tell ourselves, and then, later, obviously, extending out to their closest loved ones if they're in a relationship, a love relationship, their partner, their children, their siblings, their parents, so on and so forth. And of course, it goes out and affects the relationships they have at work or the lack thereof that they have. But what I found over time, as I was building my own kind of success formula and methodology for how I was really able to help so many of these women and those few brave men that were showing up, is it was deeper than just relationship. In order for them to get their balance, they had to be on more of an accord with their relationship with their self, for sure. But it wasn't enough just to say, you know what, I have 4 hours of self-care a week or a month, whatever the case is. I take some vacations quarterly, and I don't mind taking 10 minutes out here and there for myself. That was very helpful, extremely helpful, to allow themselves to breathe a little bit and get some energy to refuel before they went and did the greater work. But it wasn't enough. What I discovered was that for them to reach joy, to really get to that next level, that place that for a while I didn't understand why people were asking me, Naketa, why are you so happy? You seem so joyful. And, for the little bit I know about you, or when I heard you speak on stage and you were sharing the reality of your life and what was happening, I didn't understand how a woman like you, with all this life happening around her, with all these kind of horrendous things, both in your past and even some things in your present, that you could seem so authentic and transparent and come with a smile. How does that really happen? And I can honestly say it's because I have balance. And I allowed myself to create my joy. I created that balance and I created my joy. So backing up a little bit, before we dive into the Let's Talk Intimacy portion of it, I want you to understand, if you haven't been following me for a while, then you probably don't know what my definition of work-life balance is. It is very simple. It is not about being 50-50. It's not this myth of, I juggle all these things and I try not to pass out along the way. We're all juggling. If you live in the 21st century, and you are an entrepreneur, a leader of any kind, a mid-level manager, or you have families, and those are not mutually exclusive things, they could be all in one, you are juggling way more than 4 or 5 things. And that may be a first world problem, but that is something that you're doing. So by inherently, all of us are trying to handle and manage multiple hats and wear multiple hats that we have. So my definition for balance is not about that. It's literally admitting the truth of what you really want over the boundaries that you're creating to achieve the reality of that truth, and keeping distractions that pull you away from it out. So for example, if I say that my truth is I am a mogul in the making, if that is my truth, then my boundaries that I create to help me achieve the reality of that truth and keep all those distractions that will pull me away from it out will include not just a bunch of no, I can't do's, but some really optimal, powerful, actionable yeses, right? Some big, massive action yeses that might make me feel really uncomfortable, but that's a part of my daily, weekly, and sometimes hourly boundary. So for me, that means I'm not a night owl by far, but that means some nights I got to put in work and I have to stay up late to get a proposal done, to reach a deadline. If I know that the small team of people that we have for Team Fig Pro need something from me, but because of my travel schedule, my speaking schedule, my client schedule, my mama schedule, my wife's schedule, my minister schedule, my grandmama hat schedule, and the multiple other hats that I wear, if that means that I wouldn't be able to get what they need to them by a certain hour without making everything spiral out of control, unless I wake up a little extra early or stay up a little bit late or create some kind of way, you know what, I was planning on driving, but then I'm gonna have to catch the train so that I can have that time to do it. That means that I have to rethink the way that I do stuff. So that's what it really means for me for balance. It's literally admitting the truth of what you truly want in your life, what you're going after, what you're creating in this world, and then creating the boundaries to protect the reality of that truth that you are living towards. You are living it out. I am not a mogul yet, but I am a mogul in the making. I am moving towards that thing. And mogul for me is not just about millions, it is billions of dollars. Do you understand? So I'm moving towards that, which means I have to do some things that a lot of people who are my age won't do, who say, I'd rather do something else. And that's okay. That may not be their plot in life. I know what my purpose is. And in order for me to get to that place, I have to create some boundaries. When I do that, I could have a wild day, a wild night, a long day, a long night, and then ultimately I still feel balanced. I could almost forget to go pee and I still feel balanced because I'm doing things that I want to do towards the thing that I am trying to be, and I'm creating those boundaries around it. I hope that makes sense for you. In the grander scheme of things, that's just not enough. That is a huge component of it. So I've learned over the last few years, and I've been a clinician for over 20 years, that balance is extremely key and completely underrepresented in people's lives when they're in hustle and grind mode. They think, oh, I'm too busy building that I can't balance. But it is one of the first key steps. And there are layers to that. You know, you got to recognize that you need to balance, right? There are some little micro layers within that. That's one of the first key steps that you have to do is balance. But then you got to go a little further. You have to move beyond balance. If you want to move from just surviving in your daily life and the burnout of stress and business and work and family and all the hats that you wear, and you really want to thrive in this world and reach your full potential and maximize that thing, then you really do have to move beyond balance and move towards creating your joy. So the formula for that, and this is the gem, I hope you guys got pen and paper and notes, write it down, replay it later, and share it with some friends. But at the end of the day, for you to go further than just creating your balance to create your joy, you also have to deepen your relationships. You have to have some healthy relationships, which might mean cutting some people off, including the old you. The old you who has that mindset of, I can't, I'm not, I won't. But you're saying that you want something else that's going to require you to do something different. You're going to have to really look at that and decide what you want. So that old you might have to be cut out of your life too. How about that? And then, of course, there's some family and there's some friends. Now, family is blood. It is what it is. And the people that are like family to you, that kind of grew up with you or have your heart, their family, you're not necessarily going to say, I'm never going to talk to you again. I'm not going to come to your birthday celebration. I'm not going to go to your funeral. I'm not going to spit on your grave. Like, you're not necessarily trying to be that kind of human in your life, but you can distance yourself. You can create some boundaries that allow you to feel like the access that they have to you is cut off. And you can definitely do that. I tell people all the time that I love dearly. I am available. I am not accessible. And let me clarify what that is. For me to have the intimate relationship that I want with myself, with my husband, with my kids, my grandkids, my sisters, my sister friends, my cousins, my sister cousins, and all of those who are within those circles that I hold dear to me, that means that the people who might be blood or family for whatever reason, but they're not really a part of that circle for me, that means that I am available if you need something from your cousin, your sister, your friend, by title, if that's what I am to you, but I know that you're not really, that's not the position that you play in my heart. I'm available to send cards for your birthday celebration. I'm available to mail order a gift. I'm available to send food to your house if that's what you need. I'm not accessible. You can't necessarily just get me on the phone and keep me for an hour because you just want somebody to talk to you, and you know that I work for myself and that I work from home most of the time, so I should just be available to listen to you talk about the same thing you've been talking about for the last 20 years, and you're not putting any actionable steps in place to create change or transition and transformation for yourself, regardless of what I've already spent my energy, time, and resources trying to help give you, either directly or indirectly, as a resource. So I'm not accessible. That means that that person has a clear understanding of what their position is. It's like, hey, family, when we see each other, and that's it. That's it. We're probably not hugging and embracing. We're probably not going anywhere further. But if you need something, I'm available within context, right? Like, it has to be some boundaries and some limitations around that. No, I can't come to your 5th wedding. I'm sorry. By the first or the second one, I thought you had landed it. You're on marriage number 5 right now. No judgment. I'm just not going. I might not send you a gift. I don't know. It depends. Depends on how I feel that day. But that's where I'm at. And it's the same for business partners or potential power partners or past power partners, people who showed up and extracted everything that they could and then disappeared and you can barely get them on the phone. I'm not accessible or available for them. And I'm very clear about that because I want to make room for my healthy relationships. Those people that I want to help, that I want to go a little bit further for, that I want to do more for, I want to have bandwidth to do that. I don't want to be so exhausted from playing the please you game for every time you decide that you want to pop up and call me and act like you need something from me and then disappear for the next 9 months and I don't hear anything. You don't check in. You don't know what's going on in my life and everything is about to, no, I want to keep my relationships healthy. So I have balance plus healthy relationship, which are those deeper connections. That means that people actually have my cell phone number. They know where I live. They have my mailing address, that kind of thing. I want to deepen connection. And then I want to go even further and have intimacy, and I want to square it. So intimacy squared, which is the last part of that formula for joy, is really deepening your connection and your relationship even more with yourself. That means having some conversations and talking about that hurt, that trust issue, those trauma issues, those things that you buried, kind of excavating all of that stuff, because that's what's burying your purpose. It's all that chaos and confusion from those things that you refused to deal with in your past. That's what's burying it. So in order to get access to it, we have to be intimate, be willing to be naked with ourselves, be uncomfortable. Look at the fat parts. Look at the little cellulite dimples. Look at whatever it is that you didn't want to necessarily see and you didn't hope that you would get, but you got them. And in order for you to get to the deeper stuff, you gotta look at it, right? So you have to look at you first and deepening your intimacy with yourself. And then you can go out and say, oh, that's why I took so-and-so such personal when he said or she said this to me. It was because that was my stuff. Because when I was 6, 7, 5, 9, I remember my mother used to say that to me. I remember my sister used to make me feel that way. I remember so-and-so used to make me feel like I wasn't good enough. That's why it bothered me so much when that client didn't respond to the email after I sent the proposal that they asked for. They weren't just rejecting the business, they were rejecting me like my father rejected me, or my siblings, or that first boyfriend or girlfriend, or whatever the case is, right? So we have to really look at that to go a little further into that intimate space of us. And then we can turn our attention to those who are closest to us, who deserve some introspection and some intimacy. And when we do that, we're not just looking for all the problems to fix. We're looking for those good sensations, those feelings that we want to have, that we can go further and really enjoy on so many levels. That's where we want to go, and that's what we want to do. So with respect to that, I want to answer a couple of questions that came in. And for those of you who are here, and if you get this recording after, submit your question to asknaketa@thigpro.com. I will actually put it here. You can put anonymous in the, and I'll say hashtag let's talk intimacy, because I get a lot of questions to there, and that way I'll know where it's coming from. I get a lot of questions sent to me from a lot of our business clients and our leadership clients and personal development and all that stuff. So it just helps to kind of segment a little bit. But feel free to email your question if you have a direct question that you don't want to ask on the live because your name and your face might come up. I totally understand. Just be mindful that the ones you submit during the actual live, I won't get until the opportunity to read for next week and prepare. So I do have a couple questions that came from some people that prepared for this one. And feel free to put anonymous in at the subject line of your email if you don't want me to say, hey, Tiffany asked this question, or Donna from Chicago asked this question. If you don't want me to do that, feel free to put anonymous or just your city or a fake name. I don't mind. I just want to make sure that I can be of service to you and to really help you literally create your joy. That's what I want you to do by first starting with your balance so we can get even more intimate. This is a safe space. This is the place for you to get all of your intimacy questions. There's nothing off limits. I'm not just talking about sex, but I am not talking about sex either. I am a certified sex therapist, so all of those things go in it. It is all together for me. I'm about the whole person, all of you, and everything that is connected to you so you can reach your greatest level of success. So feel free to send me the message. And of course, if you are live and you're feeling bold and brave, go ahead and type it here as well. I got a couple more text messages through, and I'm like, people, I'm doing a live. I can't answer these right now. And it's quite hilarious. Dorothy, funny. So anyway, today, because I'm trying to keep these whole Let's Talk Intimacy live streams under 22 minutes, just once a week. We're going to rotate when we do them. I'm thinking 7 p.m. Eastern, especially because of the holiday over in the United States with Memorial Day weekend today. But my favorite time is 7 a.m. So I might flip to 7 a.m. next week. We'll see. I'll send out a poll later and see how you guys were. It was kind of all over the place when people voted 7 a.m., 9 a.m., 7 p.m. It was all over. So today's theme is about rekindling your life so you can ignite your creativity. Because the reality is, with intimacy being 360, if you are not very intimate at home with yourself, and when the relationships that are personal with you, your spouse, your kids, your siblings, all that kind of good stuff, then when you go to work the next day, whatever your work is, corporate, organizational, nonprofit, volunteering, and or entrepreneurial, and many of you, that's all of those things rolled in, you are not the creative beast that you could be. You are not the most productive beast that you could be. You are not the most innovative beast that you could be. And you are definitely not generating the kind of income that you could, that allows you to create even deeper impact in your community and in your personal life when you are so stagnant from the stuff that's going on at home. That's word. You can take that to the bank and cash it, guaranteed. So what I want to do on the live stream for intimacy is really kind of hamper in on the personal side of intimacy, because in the next 4 months or so, I will have some treats for you guys where we will really then apply this to your brand intimacy and really get your businesses, if that's what you have, or if you are a business development leader inside a company or entrepreneurial leader inside of a company, then you can really take your teams to the next level with some brand intimacy going forward. But I really think I know that there's a lot of personal work that we need to do on this side. So I titled this Rekindle Your Love Life. So one of the things that I'm going to challenge you with is I don't like to always, and I'll rotate it occasionally, leave the call to action just to the end. I'm going to give it to you right up here in the middle of the live stream. The call to action for today is really simple. It's simple, but it's not easy, depending on what you got going on. I want you to commit to 30 days of intimacy, starting Saturday, June 1st. And the reason I pick Saturday is because most of the women and men that I work with are ambitious, they're type A, and they are significant around planning, especially things that make them uncomfortable, nervous. They need to research, they need to get some ideas, they need to do all of that. So I know today is the 28th of May of 2019. So let's give you a couple days to go down the research rabbit hole and do all that stuff that you want to do so you can be prepared to start your 30 days of intimacy challenge on Saturday. And starting next week, I'll give you some ideas of prizes and all kinds of things that we're going to do to really make this fun over the next 30 days. But I want you to start there. That's your call to action. It's not a sell. It's not for you to join one of my programs. It's not for any of that. It is literally for you to work on you for the next 30 days and for me to stop losing this headphone that keeps coming out of my ears. I would like to say my ears are too small, but that's not the truth. You can see that. So what I got for that, and I will give you some steps. One of the questions alludes to that for how you can do that. One question that I got from someone anonymous said, how do I get my spark back after 5 years of a just blah relationship with my spouse who I had been friends with for over 10 years prior to us dating? She said, she used another word, but I'll just say dating, prior to them engaging in intimate relations, right? One of the best ways that I would answer this to anonymous who sent that, when you feel like the spark has gone from your relationship, it has just left the scene. There's no more spark. You don't know what else to do. The very first thing that I would do after I admitted to myself that there is something missing in my relationship is I would take myself out on a date. Take yourself out on a date. Do something fun for you. And the reason that I suggest that is often because we know relationships are a two-way conversation, right? Whether it's 2 ways of non-conversation, because one of y'all or both of y'all not talking and communicating, or it's because you're both saying stuff, but you're just, saying stuff to hurt each other, to hinder progress, because that's what you trained each other to know how to do over the last few years. You've lost your own spark. Miss I'm assuming it's a woman. Miss Anonymous, I'm assuming that you don't feel as sexy as you felt 5 years ago. You don't feel as confident as you felt 5 years ago. The things that y'all did 10 years prior to you actually committing to the relationship, when it was all good and there was no certificate of commitment and no house, no bills, no joint bills and all that kind of good stuff, you were a very different Shira than you are right now. And I'm sure your spouse has noticed that. So in addition to whatever he got going on as his problems and his issues and his challenges, which might be a whole bag of crazy, right? It might be a whole big bag of stuff. What I can focus on is you, because you were the most ambitiously bold one to submit your question in the first place and ask for some help. What I can say is start igniting that with yourself again. That might mean, going to one of your favorite restaurants that daggone well you would never go to by yourself. And you don't necessarily have to do it alone. You can pull in a girlfriend. You can pull in a really, really good, what I call a pro friend, one of those professional friends that you don't mind hanging out with, but you're not necessarily inviting them to, your family parties and events, but they're really, really good people. I call them pro friends. Take somebody out, go out and but it has to be somebody you want to have a real good conversation. It's not just going to be a bunch of niceties and you feeling all superficial the whole time. Someone you really feel like you can at least pull your hair down, if not necessarily take the wig off with, right? Like, just really enjoy yourself and their company and not in spite of them being there. But otherwise, just go for yourself. Restaurant, mani-pedi, massages are my favorite thing to do. Acupuncture, Reiki, if there's anything like that you want to do, just go take care of yourself where you get to get dressed and feel really good going in and even better coming out. That's what I would first do to be able to address, the fact that you feel so blah. And by the time this live stream is over in a couple minutes, I'm going to give you some more tips for that. But the next question was kind of similar, so I didn't want to not answer it. And that was, I'm out of ideas and don't have the energy to create anything new. I am completely exhausted from life and from work and from all the great things that have been happening in my life, but it is pulling all my energy away. So I have absolutely no time to think of anything fun to do with him. Okay. This person is anonymous as well. She started to write her name. She wrote L-I, so I'm going to call her Lee. I think she decided to back up out of it. Like, okay, Lee. So here's what you can do. Part of this is the 30-day challenge, right? With this 30-day challenge, and this will answer both anonymous 1 and anonymous 2, Miss Lee, for it is I like to put things in nomenclature and rhyme them with words and letters and days and all kinds of things to make it easy for me to remember. I'm one of those people with like the brain and memory of an elephant, and I like to file things away. So I hope you got pen and paper. Part of your 30-day challenge is to do this, and you'll do this in a cycle of 4, starting with June 1st, and it will be able to help both of the women who wrote in asking for some ideas and some help and some energy, in addition to woman number 1, I was going to say gentleman, but woman number 1 being able to take herself out to have some fun and, pull her hair back. So Monday will be about memories. I want you to focus on memories for yourself. And this is a two-way street with this intimacy. Do it with yourself, and then also do it with your partner. If you are not in a loving monogamous relationship and you are not even dating, then just focus on yourself. And trust me when I tell you, by getting yourself right and feeling all good with yourself, you will attract the person that is supposed to be for you. I like to call my husband my soul's half. We met when we were young. We started dating by the time we were 17, and we got married at 22. But I tell you on my life that if we were 50, 60, or 80 when we met, I still would have married that man because he was created for me. And he get on my daggone nerve, okay? Okay? But he was created for me. But you attract that which you are ready for. So be mindful of that. So Monday should be about memories. Walk down memory lane, something nostalgic for yourself, something fun you used to do. When you were 10, you played double dutch and you were really good at it. When I was young, it was really weird and pretty awkward, but I used to race up and down the street. I wasn't allowed to go off the block, so I would race up and down the street. And I would literally race myself. And when I had an opportunity during school days, I would literally pick on a boy and I would race him, because the boys were typically fastest in my elementary, and I would race them and beat them. That's what I do. And I would feel really good about it. And the energy that I felt, and the wind blowing through my hair, and the way that the sparkle, which I call sweat, the sparkle, I'm sparkling right now, would come down my face just made me feel so good. And I didn't know about the science of endorphins and oxytocin and all. I didn't know any of that. What I did know is I loved how it made me feel. So when I need to go into a space, when I do guided imagery with myself, I'm always running in my head. I'm always doing it, and I can feel every sensation. So take yourself back to a memory that makes you feel good. And then for those of you who are in a relationship, do this with your partner. Just remind him or her, if whatever, remind him or her of who you used to be when you both felt something together. And it doesn't necessarily have to be about a sexual experience. And if that's your memory, then so be it. But it might be, when somebody was walking down the street and one of y'all fell and you laughed so hard that you got nauseous, whatever it is, like whatever the memory is that really brings up all those good sensory experiences for you. That's what Monday's about. Monday memories. Tuesday is teasing. Yes, 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 yes. And I mean it just like I said it. It is teasing. So if it's just you can tease yourself in all kinds of ways, but you could also just tease yourself with the opportunity of remembering those silly little nicknames that we used to have. I had all kinds of names, from Forehead to Vanilla to Smiley to Squeaky. I know I sound like a grown woman now, but I didn't always sound that way. I had a very squeaky voice growing up, probably till child number 2, and at some point the baritone kicked in a little bit more and I sound like a grown person. But you can just have a little fun with yourself and remind yourself, almost like with the memory, and tease yourself around something silly you used to do. Or you could go into a very physically intimate space and tease your partner. Okay, I didn't mean what I said, just saying. So Tuesday teasing, Monday memories, Tuesday teasing. Wednesday is wellness. If you get healthy together, you'll stay together longer. And that includes with yourself, right? So again, everything is with yourself as well as with your partner if you have a partner at the time. So Wednesday is wellness. Do something together or do something on the same day. Your honey boo don't have to go to the gym with you necessarily or have to do yoga at the same time as you, but Wednesday is the wellness day. So both of you should be doing something that is for the sake of getting your heart right, getting your endocrine system right, getting your lymphatic system right. Get a rebounder, $35 and bounce on it for somewhere between 5 and 20 minutes. 20 minutes of rebounding on a little miniature trampoline is the equivalent of an hour of running per NASA study. So just go do something and have fun, but get well together. So Wednesday, wellness. Thursday, I usually call it Thoughtful Thursday, but for the sake of being in sequential order, Thursday, thoughtfulness. Make sure you just say something thoughtful. Like I like to leave little cards and notes around the house and the bedroom and stickies on the mirror in our bathroom for my husband. Sometimes they're a scripture because I'm a faith woman, a woman of faith. Sometimes they are just a little love note. It's not usually like a kinky love note. It's usually just like I love you to the moon, the stars, and beyond, and to the ether. Sometimes it's like that. Sometimes it's a scripture, but just something that will make him smile, like make his heart smile. That's what Thoughtful Thursday is really for, in my opinion. It's just to make your heart smile and make the other person's heart smile because of the thoughtfulness that you did. Maybe you did the laundry because they always do the laundry. Maybe you folded the laundry before they got a chance to come home and fold the laundry. Maybe you wiped down the counters or the baseboard, something that they have been asking you to do for forever, and you just wanted to make them smile for that. Maybe you steamed or ironed their clothes for the next day before they even asked. And regardless of whether or not they're going to wear it that next day, they have something for the week that's already, together for them. Like just something that's thoughtful. And you don't got to do 20 things, and it doesn't all have to be chore related, but just doing something thoughtful that that they would truly appreciate because it saved them time, it saved them energy, it may have saved them money, but more importantly, it was your intention is what made their heart smile more than anything. Friday, is all the feels. It's feeling all the feels. So that's kind of like Tuesday teasing because sex is very important. So Friday, feel the feels. Now, obviously, this works a lot easier and simpler if you are in a relationship. But if you are not, feel you feels. Feel all over you. Feel the feels until you feel really, really extraordinary good. And we can have a conversation about that if you need to. Okay. Friday is Friday feels. Saturday is self-care. So similar to Wednesday wellness, but self-care is not necessarily doing cardio or yoga or anything, although it's not excluding that. So that can be what you do for your self-care day. But it might just be reading a good book, listening to an audio book while you soak your feet in some, vinegar, water, and baking soda, just to relax and take the toxins out, or some Epsom salt or something. Like, have some essential oils going. Meditate for 2 minutes. All you need is 2 minutes. You don't have to do it for 20. And meditating, just try to listen to your heartbeat. That's all. Get quiet enough that you can hear your heartbeat for that 2 minutes. If that's the only thing you can do, that is awesome. Okay? You don't have to, empty your brain out and have complete silence. Just try to focus in to hear your heartbeat. You have centered yourself enough. And there's a whole bunch of emotional science behind that. We can talk about that later. Sunday, sizzles. Well, like what I said. So for the healthiest relationships, especially if you are in one, you want to have spontaneity of some kind. Now, I will say that I have been my entire life that I can remember, as far back as I can remember, a complete planner. I planned everything. At one point, for a long time, for a bulk of years in my marriage, I planned sex. It was like, okay, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, like these are the days, because these are the days that I'm not likely to be traveling, that I'm doing this. Like I was the worst. Do you hear me? And I'm a clinician. I know better, but I also had multiple things on my plate. I was juggling quite a lot, and I was out of balance at the time. Okay. So when I decided to live in my truth and create the boundaries for it, I realized that I really didn't like I did it out of necessity, but I didn't like that I needed to feel like I had to schedule even the most intimate physical moments between me and my husband. So I stopped scheduling it. And that was very hard and very difficult because I would stop putting it on my calendar, and I would secretly have it in my head. Like it was just all kinds of things. I had to rewire my brain around it. But when you are more spontaneous in your sizzling behavior, and your sizzling behavior could just be touches and strokes and playing with face. And my husband likes to play with my hair. Like it could just be that. It doesn't have to be full on penetration. Okay? It doesn't have to be that. it's fun if that's what it is, but it does not have to be that. So be mindful that your sizzle is your sizzle. It doesn't have to be Naketa sizzle or Tina sizzle or Chantel sizzle or anybody else's. Just make sure that there's something spontaneous. Now, it may have nothing to do with bedroom play at all. Just as a suggestion, your spontaneity of just doing something different, cooking in if you always order out, or going to the park that's right down the street from your house that you always drive by but never actually slow down. Give yourself permission to slow down and walk into. When you do things like that, it actually awakens the other parts of your creativity so that you can enjoy whatever other physically intimate moments that you might have a few days, a few hours, or a few weeks away from then. So just do something spontaneous. Again, if you're not in a relationship, which most of my clients are, so I'm always kind of speaking to the couples because those are my ideal clients. Those are the people that I cater to, that I serve the best. But I am not excluding those who are dating, because some of my married clients are now dating, right? Like, life happens, things happen. But with that case, you can still do the sizzling, spontaneous things with yourself, which is pretty much just doing something out of your norm. So it's not that you're surprising yourself necessarily, like you can close your eyes and be like, oh, woke up at a great adventure or an amusement park. That's not the reality of it. But if you never go to amusement parks, if you never kick off your shoes when you walk in the house because you always feel like you have to keep all your clothes on until it's time for bed, do something different. Be spontaneous with yourself. Strip down as soon as you walk in. Take the bra off, kick the shoes off, throw the slippers across the room. Fill your own floor, the floor that you've been paying for on your own for X amount of months, years, weeks, or however it is. Fill it. Feel really good. Feel rooted and grounded. Just do something that is sizzling for you, that just kind of awakens your senses. So as a reminder, 30-day commitment to intimacy, starting June 1 for 30 days straight, not 30 business days, business folks, 30 straight consecutive days. Monday memories, Tuesday teasing, Wednesday wilderness, Wednesday wellness, thoughtful Thursday or Thursday thoughtfulness, however you want to say it, Friday feels, Saturday self-care, and Sunday sizzles, which is the spontaneity. That's what I'll leave you with. I know we went over by about 7 minutes today, but I was excited to be here with you. I love you for showing up. I love you for listening to the replay. I love you for loving on yourself and wanting to move beyond balance and create your joy by understanding that that's going to take both the balance, the healthy relationships, and intimacy squared. So I'm happy to see you again next week so we can talk about this intimacy and really get this thing in, because intimacy matters. Like, I really want you, I always talk hashtag relationship matters, Black Lives Matters, parent lives matters. Like, I say all kinds of things, but intimacy matters. So you can hashtag that all day too. I will see you next week. I'm thinking I'll still do Tuesday. I'll run a poll probably tomorrow just to make sure that this works for you guys, whatever the main times are. But for now, I'll just say go create your balance and create your joy. But remember to always do it boldly, because again, your intimacy matters, not just to me, but to you more. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much.